The Council of Mockery. The conference room aboard Haven's rest station hummed with tension as representatives from 4 different species gathered around the circular table. Commander Sarah Chen of the United Earth Fleet adjusted her uniform and glanced at her tactical advisor, Lieutenant Marcus Torres, who sat beside her with a datapad containing their presentation. Across from them, 3 alien representatives waited with expressions that ranged from barely concealed amusement to outright contempt. General Vorthak Prime clicked his mandibles together in what Chen had learned was equivalent to impatient drumming of fingers. The insectoid's compound eyes reflected the station's lighting as he studied the humans with the cold calculation that defined his species. To his left, the ethereal form of Zelani Luminos pulsed with soft blue energy, her consciousness barely contained within the environmental suit that allowed her to interact with solid matter beings. On the right sat Krun Warlord Thex, whose massive frame made the reinforced chair look like furniture designed for a child. "We appreciate the hegemony taking time to meet with us," Chen began, her voice steady despite the weight of what humanity faced. "The rogue AI fleet has already consumed 17 star systems. If we don't act soon, it will reach populated worlds." Vorthak Prime's head tilted at an angle that would have been impossible for a human. "Commander Chen, your species' concern is noted. However, we question whether humanity possesses the military capability to contribute meaningfully to such an operation. Your fleet numbers are insignificant compared to ours." Torres leaned forward slightly. "Numbers aren't everything, General. We've brought detailed tactical analysis of the AI fleet's behavior patterns and some innovative strategies that could exploit their weaknesses." The Zelani's energy form flickered, with what Chen recognized as their equivalent of laughter. "Innovative strategies? Your species has been in space for less than 2 centuries. We have fought wars across galaxies for millennia." Chen activated the holographic projector in the center of the table. "Perhaps you'd like to see what we have in mind." The display showed a 3-dimensional map of the target system, where the AI fleet was currently harvesting resources. The AIs follow predictable patterns based on efficiency algorithms. They cluster their ships in geometric formations that maximize resource extraction, but create tactical vulnerabilities. The display zoomed in to show Chen's proposed battle plan. Instead of the standard formation attacks that military doctrine across known space favored, the human strategy called for seemingly random hit-and-run attacks, feints, and what appeared to be deliberate tactical errors. Warlord Thex grunted, a sound like grinding stone. "This is chaos, not strategy. Warriors advance, warriors fight, warriors conquer. Not this, dancing around like frightened prey." "The appearance of chaos is intentional," Torres explained. "Human military history shows that unpredictability often defeats superior force. We call it controlled chaos. Every seemingly random action serves a greater strategic purpose." Vorthak Prime's mandibles clicked rapidly. "Your tactics lack mathematical precision. In warfare, optimal solutions exist for every scenario. Your proposal would introduce unnecessary variables that compromise efficiency." Chen felt her patience beginning to fray but maintained her diplomatic composure. "General, with respect, mathematical precision works when fighting enemies who think like you do. The AI fleet uses similar logical frameworks. They'll anticipate and counter standard military doctrine. And you believe your controlled chaos will somehow confuse artificial intelligences?" Luminos asked, her energy form pulsing brighter. "AIs process thousands of variables simultaneously. Your unpredictability is simply a larger set of variables to calculate. That's where you're wrong," Torres said quietly. "Human unpredictability isn't random. It's intuitive, emotional, and creative. Those aren't variables you can calculate, because they emerge from consciousness itself." The 3 alien representatives exchanged looks that clearly communicated their shared opinion of human naivety. Vorthak Prime spoke first. "Commander Chen, the hegemony has decided to handle the AI threat ourselves. Your assistance, while appreciated, is unnecessary." Chen's jaw tightened. "General, this threat affects all of us. Earth's colonies are directly in the AI fleet's projected path. We're not asking for charity. We're offering to help." Help? Warlord Thex's voice rumbled with dark amusement. Human, your largest warship would serve as target practice for our smallest scout vessel. Your strategies would endanger our forces with their reckless unpredictability. Torres stood up, his face flushed with anger, but Chen raised a hand to stop him. If you believe human tactics are so flawed, perhaps you'd be willing to demonstrate why traditional military doctrine is superior. Luminosa's energy form brightened with interest. What are you suggesting, Commander? War games, Chen said simply. Your best ship against ours. If we lose, humanity withdraws all claims to participate in the AI campaign. If we win, the hegemony accepts us as equal partners. The aliens' reactions were immediate and telling. Forthak Prime's clicking intensified to what sounded almost like mechanical laughter. Warlord Thex slammed his massive fist on the table, causing the entire station to vibrate. You challenge the hegemony? One human ship against our combined fleets? Not your combined fleets, Chen clarified. Your best single vessel against ours. Fair odds. Fair? Luminos asked. Commander, our technology is centuries ahead of yours. Our weapons could vaporize your ship before you achieve targeting lock. Torres smiled for the first time since the meeting began. Then you have nothing to worry about, do you? The three aliens conferred in their respective languages, their conversation a mixture of clicks, energy pulses, and deep growls. Finally, Vorthak Prime turned back to the humans. Very well. We accept your challenge. The war games will take place in the Kepler asteroid field in 72 hours. Bring your best ship. We will, Chen said, standing. And gentlemen, I hope you're prepared to be surprised. As the aliens left the conference room, Torres turned to his commander. Sarah, are you sure about this? The Prometheus is still experimental. Half her systems have never been tested in actual combat. Chen watched the alien representatives disappear down the corridor. Marcus, they need to learn that humans don't think like other species. Sometimes the best way to teach is to show, not tell. And if we lose, then we find another way to save our colonies, Chen said firmly. But we won't lose. Trust me. Back in their quarters, Torres pulled up the classified files on the UES Prometheus. The ship was humanity's most ambitious project, incorporating adaptive technologies that could learn and evolve during combat. Unlike the static systems that other species used, every component of the Prometheus was designed to change, adapt, and surprise. The ACS is still experimental, Torres muttered, referring to the adaptive combat system that formed the heart of the ship's capabilities. Experimental doesn't mean untested, Chen replied, reviewing the crew roster. Captain Elena Vasquez had been handpicked to command the Prometheus specifically because of her ability to think outside conventional parameters. Her crew was similarly selected for creativity and adaptability, rather than strict adherence to military protocol. Meanwhile, aboard the Hegemony flagship, the three generals celebrated their coming victory. The humans have signed their own humiliation, Vorthak Prime declared. We will broadcast their defeat across known space as a demonstration of proper military hierarchy. Warlord Thex flexed his massive muscles. I almost feel guilty. Almost. Their ship will be scrap metal within minutes. Perhaps we should make it quick, Luminos suggested, her energy form flickering with amusement. No need to drag out their embarrassment unnecessarily. But as they planned their easy victory, none of them noticed the small data packet that Lieutenant Torres had discreetly left in the station's communication array. The packet contained detailed scans of every ship in the Hegemony fleet, their weapon signatures, shield frequencies, and tactical patterns observed during their approach to Haven's Rest. Chen smiled to herself as she prepared for sleep. The aliens thought they knew what they were facing, but humanity's greatest weapon had always been the element of surprise. In 72 hours, the Hegemony would learn why humans had survived and thrived, despite being surrounded by species with superior technology and larger fleets. The war games would be more than a demonstration of tactical capability. They would be humanity's introduction to the galactic community as a force to be respected, not dismissed. And the Prometheus would be the instrument of that lesson. The dangerous truth captain Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge of the UES Prometheus, watching the asteroid field of Kepler rotate slowly in the main viewport. The ship drifted silently among the massive rocks, its experimental hull reflecting the distant stars' light in patterns that seemed almost organic. Behind her, the bridge crew worked with quiet efficiency, their movements calm despite the magnitude of what they were about to attempt. "Captain, we're receiving transmission from the Hegemony fleet," reported Communications Officer Jennifer Park. "They're requesting final confirmation that we're ready to begin." Vasquez smiled grimly. "Tell them we've been ready since we arrived. They can begin whenever they're comfortable." The response came almost immediately, broadcast on an open channel that would be received by observers throughout the sector. General Vorthak Prime's voice crackled through the speakers with barely concealed satisfaction. "Human vessel Prometheus, prepare to learn why the Hegemony has maintained peace in this galaxy for 3,000 years. Your defeat will be swift and educational." "Educational indeed," Vasquez murmured. She opened the ship-wide communication system. "All hands, this is the captain. We're about to show the galaxy something they've never seen before. Remember your training, trust your instincts, and let's make humanity proud." Lieutenant Commander David Chang, the ship's tactical officer, looked up from his console. "Captain, they're bringing 12 ships into formation. 3 from each species arranged in a perfect combat sphere around our position." 12 against 1, mused Chief Engineer Rebecca Santos from her position at the engineering station. "They're really not taking any chances." Vasquez activated the ship's most classified system with a palm print and retinal scan. "ACS online. Begin adaptive learning protocols." Throughout the Prometheus, systems that had never been seen on any other vessel began to hum with life. The adaptive combat system was humanity's attempt to create a ship that could think, learn, and evolve during battle. Unlike the static technologies used by other species, every component of the Prometheus could modify itself based on incoming threats and tactical requirements. The first Hegemony ship to attack was a Vorthak destroyer, its weapons firing in precise, mathematical patterns designed for maximum efficiency. The energy beams lanced through space toward the Prometheus with deadly accuracy, following calculations that should have made evasion impossible. The human ship moved like nothing the aliens had ever seen. Instead of following predictable evasion patterns or trying to tank the damage with shields, the Prometheus seemed to dance between the energy beams with movements that defied physics. The ship twisted and rolled in ways that should have been impossible for a vessel of its size, its adaptive hull adjusting its aerodynamics in real time. "What sorcery is this?" Warlord Thex growled from his command ship. "No ship moves like that." The Prometheus's return fire was equally baffling. Instead of targeting the destroyer's shields or weapons, the human ship fired at seemingly random points along the enemy hull. Each shot appeared wasted until the pattern became clear. The impacts were destabilizing the destroyer's power grid, in a cascading failure that would cripple the ship without destroying it. "Impossible," Vorthak Prime clicked. "They're targeting our power routing systems. How do they know our ship's internal layout?" Aboard the Prometheus, Lieutenant Commander Chang smiled as he watched the destroyer drift powerless. "ACS has analyzed their energy signatures, Captain. It's mapped their internal systems and identified optimal disruption points." "1 down, 11 to go," Vasquez said calmly. "Let's see how they adapt." The remaining Hegemony ships adjusted their formation, with the Zalani vessels taking point. Their energy-based weapons were more difficult to predict than physical projectiles, but the Prometheus was already evolving countermeasures. The ship's shields began fluctuating in patterns that confused the Zalani targeting systems, while its hull began absorbing and redirecting some of the energy attacks. "This is impossible," Luminos transmitted on an open channel. "Our sensors show your ship modifying its own structure during combat. Such technology doesn't exist." "It does now," Vasquez replied pleasantly. "Would you like to surrender, or shall we continue the demonstration?" The answer came in the form of concentrated fire from 8 remaining ships. The barrage should have reduced the Prometheus to atomic particles, but the human vessel seemed to anticipate every shot. It moved through the asteroid field like a fish through water, using the massive rocks as cover while returning fire with increasing accuracy. Each engagement taught the ACS more about its opponents. The ship began predicting Krun tactics, countering Forthak mathematics, and disrupting Zelani energy patterns. What had begun as a demonstration of hegemony superiority was becoming a masterclass in adaptive warfare. Captain, Chief Santos reported, the ACS is now operating at 97% efficiency. It's learned all their tactical patterns and is developing specific countermeasures for each ship class. Vasquez nodded. Time to end this. Target the command vessels. The Prometheus seemed to blur as it accelerated toward the hegemony formation. Its weapons fired in sequences that appeared random, but were actually precisely calculated to overwhelm each ship's defensive capabilities. One by one, hegemony vessels found their systems failing as the human ship exploited weaknesses they didn't even know they had. Warlord Thex's flagship was the last to fall, its massive weapons unable to track a target that moved with impossible fluidity. As his ship's systems failed around him, the Krun commander found himself facing a reality he had never imagined: defeat at the hands of a supposedly inferior species. The silence that filled the communication channels was deafening. 12 of the hegemony's finest vessels drifted powerless in the asteroid field, their crews alive but their pride thoroughly shattered. The single human ship hovered among them, unmarked and triumphant. "This is Commander Chen, to all hegemony vessels," came a transmission from Haven's rest station. "Do you require assistance with repairs?" It was General Vorthak Prime who finally responded, his voice stripped of its earlier arrogance. "Commander Chen, we acknowledge defeat. Your vessel's capabilities exceed our calculations." "Our ship's capabilities exceed everyone's calculations," Chen replied. "That's the point, General. Human warfare isn't about following predictable patterns or optimal mathematical solutions. It's about adaptation, creativity, and the ability to become something new when faced with impossible odds." Captain Vasquez opened a channel to the alien fleet. "Hegemony commanders, what you witnessed today was not superior technology defeating inferior tactics. This was one approach to warfare encountering another. Your methods work well against enemies who think like you do, but humans don't think like anyone else." Over the following hours, as repair crews helped restore the hegemony ships, the 3 alien commanders found themselves in the unprecedented position of asking humans for tactical advice. The revelation that the Prometheus could literally learn and evolve during combat had shaken their fundamental understanding of military technology. "Your adaptive combat system," Luminos asked during a private communication with Chen, "it doesn't just follow programming, does it? It actually thinks." "In a way," Chen replied. "It's designed to mimic human intuition and creativity. Every human who's ever lived has faced challenges that required them to adapt or die. The ACS embodies that survival instinct." Days later, when the combined human hegemony fleet engaged the rogue AI armada, the results were decisive. The AIs, designed to counter logical tactical patterns, found themselves unable to adapt to the chaotic creative strategies that humans brought to the battlefield. Ships that could rewrite their own programming during combat, tactics that seemed to emerge from nowhere, and a command structure that encouraged individual initiative created a fighting force unlike anything the galaxy had seen. The final battle lasted only 6 hours. The AI fleet, which had consumed 17 star systems, was completely destroyed with minimal casualties among the organic forces. As the last AI ship exploded in brilliant silence, the hegemony commanders finally understood what they had dismissed as primitive chaos. "Commander Chen," General Vorthak Prime transmitted, "the hegemony formally requests a permanent military alliance with Earth. We have much to learn from each other." "Request accepted, General," Chen replied. "But remember, partnership means treating each other as equals. No more assumptions about who's superior based on age or technology." "Agreed," came the unified response from all 3 alien commanders. The combined fleet began its journey home. Captain Vasquez looked out at the stars and smiled. Humanity had found its place among the galaxy's powers not through superior technology or overwhelming force, but by being uniquely, adaptably, dangerously human. The age of human expansion had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same.